And our meeting is now streaming live. All right. So, hello and welcome to Relevate. I am Avon Collis, CRM and Marketing Automation Specialist, and I'm here with Anette Hyde, the Client Success Manager here at Relevate. So we're here to discuss work in 2020, digital transformation, and all that wonderful stuff to do with the new way of work, the new way of doing business. And part of that is cultural transformation, why it's important, and the kinds of things that we can do to improve the way that we work whilst we're separated in our houses and doing remote work. So, what does that mean? And what, I suppose, Annette, what are your circumstances and, past and current? How has that affected you?
Well, hello. I am, current circumstances, I'm a single parent with two kids. They're both school age, so, school drop-offs, pickups. And I used to work full-time, do the whole before and after school care, all of that, which was exhausting for everybody. And then COVID happened and things went crazy. And nobody was really sure what any of that meant or how long it was going to go for. Lost my job and then had to try and figure out what to do from there. And in that whole process, sort of in rethinking everything, decided that for my, I guess, life circumstances right now, full-time work is not a thing that's going to work. And then was put in touch with Avon, or Avon was put in touch with me, however that worked. And I was offered a, I guess, part-time kind of very flexible arrangement to do some work for him, for you.
I was going to say, he sounds like a great guy.
The third party, the other Avon.
Yeah.
And I guess it's sort of built from there where I can, the things that I'm given, unless something is specifically labeled urgent, we need it now, I can work very much around the schedule with the kids, the school. One of my kids has special needs, so there's sometimes I need to do extra stuff for him, and being able to work from home and have access to all the business's information, client information, without having to pick up the phone 1,000 times is just a lifesaver, life-changing. I think it has decreased stress levels in how I'm going to manage everything, like exponentially. It's just, I don't even have the right words to say how much it has changed the way I think about what work is and what work means, and that it's not necessarily a laborious thing now. It's it's a bit more, I guess, joyful, because I get to have some say in when it needs to be done and not be forced into a rigid time frame of you must start now, you must leave now, I need this, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, you don't have to drive anywhere now either, so that saves you a whole bunch of time.
Like,
aside from school pickups and those sort of stuff, and the parking.
Yeah. Well, travel before was like at least 35 to 45 minutes one way, and then when you take all that into account, plus all the different pickups, plus it was just the amount of time that you spend out of home or just mucking around trying to do things, and then trying to jam everything that you can't do in the weekend, you kind of lose so much time just mucking around with, and there's no purpose to it. And then you sort of start to feel a bit down because all the stuff that you want to do that brings you happiness and joy, you kind of lose because you've sacrificed all your time to just driving in a car.
Yeah. And you don't have to, like, you had your daughter home with you, so the other day, and I know that you answered a few calls, but you did significantly less work on that day because you needed to pay attention to her. But that's fine, because at the end of the day, most of what we do is asynchronous, so you can log on anytime. You can, maybe check in on an app or whatever. How do you go controlling your time? Has there been an adjustment? Like, have you had to learn any new skills?
I've definitely had to plan my time better. And that's still a work in progress. I think that'll be an ever evolving thing once the needs of everybody in the house changes and my own needs change. But I've had to sit down, look at a calendar and actually plan specific time, not necessarily for a specific task, but I've got things like in my calendar when I drop my kids off, when I pick them up, spending time with the kids, and then also making sure that I take a lunch break. And then I've got like different times during the day where I'm like, this will be copywriting, this will be this, and then it sort of adjusts around if I have a meeting or whatever else. But
Mm.
I guess it's also meant that I'm a bit more conscious about putting time in for myself and my own well-being, to make sure that I don't, it's a bit more visible, I think, when it's on like an actual calendar. You can actually have a visual representation of what's going on and go, oh wait, I haven't done anything for myself, I haven't done anything with, or I need to do more, or pay more attention to this side of things, or whatever it
Mm.
is. And I sort of do it that way. And then throughout the day, I mean, it's a very flexible calendar at the same time, so it's kind of like trying to plan my time, but also
Mm.
knowing that that could change. And then when I do the work, I just mark down start time, finish time, what I've done in that time, and I guess do it that way.
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of soft skills that people need to learn, particularly around things like using either like time tracking tools or using your
Mm,
calendar. Microsoft actually has like an insights add-in that you can add to your Outlook, and it'll tell you, you know, how like what your calendar looks like, whether you should add in some block time. It'll auto recommend that you take lunch breaks. And you know, I guess as someone that tries to help people to do this sort of stuff, this remote work, the more like the more you can schedule work when you're like ready to go. And sometimes that's different for different people.
mm,
It's different in terms of your rhythm, in your normal daily rhythm, your kids' rhythm,
mm,
the things you have to work around. So I know that sometimes I just lock myself in here at between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. and I'll bust out something really, really good. Other times it's morning. Other times, you know, I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm writing stuff on the whiteboard, I'm tapping out some idea. And then other times I'll be sitting there for hours knowing I've got to get something done, but it's just no good.
mm,
So I kind of adjust as I need, and I go, all right, well, this isn't working. I'm going to go for a walk, or go for a coffee, or go and watch TV for an hour or something, and just think about something totally different. Like
yeah,
if you had a friend offer you for a coffee at all, I suppose 9:30, 10 a.m., you could go, right? You could take the morning off if you want.
yeah, absolutely. And
You've
I
just got
think,
to plan that in the rest of the week.
yeah, and I think too that there's this well, the way that when I first started working a long time ago, there's this concept of your time has to be, you have to do your things in this very specific set of time. And it has to almost be, you're almost forced to do things in a linear way, where a lot of people don't think in a linear pattern. And I know, again, on that same sort of vein, is that my creative processes, if I'm writing something, doesn't happen when I want it to. It sort of pops into my brain and then I blurt it on a piece of paper. So I've got like notebooks and pens everywhere because I'm constantly writing stuff down. Or I'm on my phone going, oh my God, I forgot my notebook. So my phone is like my next port of call. And I can't schedule that time in because it sort of happens organically. And being able to use the flexibility of working from home, working in a thing where I have access to all these different things, and I don't need to save it and put it on a flash drive and then do it something else and do something else to it to make it work for everybody,
Mm.
is a giant time saver. It means that I'm not producing work that is forced. It's more organic and more useful for what's needed, and I guess better for the client at the end of the day because I get to think about it more. And I'm not forcing myself into something that my brain doesn't like.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't work that way.
Case in point, for those listening, I'm on daddy daycare today. I was sitting on the couch watching ABC Kids, and I get a text message or a notification through Microsoft Teams from Annette saying, "Hey, you got 5 minutes? I've got an idea." And I'm like, "Okay." So we jump on a quick call on the phone. Then we quickly brainstorm this video, and within 5-10 minutes, we're sitting down. We've got a bit of an intro script, an outro. We've done now probably about 10-15 minutes worth of recording, and this is free flowing, natural. It's her idea. I didn't come up with it at all, and I think that's amazing, so thank you. And so you're saying like it's good for your creativity and productivity, right?
Yeah, because the thought process for this whole thing came from driving in the car to get a coffee. And that's not something that you necessarily, if you're stuck in an office, that you would do. And it's sort of when you're driving is when you kind of get, or when I'm doing something other that
Thinking
is a bit more
space.
menial,
Yeah.
um, the parts in my brain that do all that thing, they sort of freed up to sort of think about things and process things, and then go, hey, what about this thing?
Well, I think that just sort of says, like in the office environment, when they send a coffee, it's usually an excuse to get out, like an escapism. Like people say,
Yes, yeah.
I can't wait for the weekend. But is that really, like, do you really enjoy your job? Do you really want to be there? Like, I can't wait to get X done in the business because I think it's really going to have a massive impact and make it just go nuts.
Mm.
That's the way I think about it. So it's my passion, and I hope it's your passion. I hope it's everybody else's. No, don't need to answer that on the question in live on a live video. But, I don't want to force these responses. And I think that, what you mentioned there about having that thinking time is that, do you really get that with an office worker that just can't wait to get out, to can't clock off, to go? And, nothing's really playing on their mind in the background. They're
Mm.
just, they're flick into their own mode. Now, nothing wrong with that, but, at least if someone's kind of invested in the big picture, then they're probably going to be thinking about it outside. I know there was a thing where Steve Jobs says big businesses and great ideas don't happen between 9 to 5. They happen in hallways at 11 o'clock at night, over a box of pizza and discussions here, there, and everywhere. Like it's those sorts of things that become transformational rather than just all right, I do task A, B, and C, I clock off, that's it.
Yeah, and I think when you're in an office environment, I don't even think it's necessarily pressure that comes from upper management or anything. I think it's just a mentality. When you walk into a thing, into the office, sit at a desk, there's this pressure to be on and to be productive for the entire time.
Mm,
And that's not always possible. And then by the end of the week, you're exhausted, you're mentally drained, and you're just like, oh, thank God it's the weekend.
yeah,
Whereas in this kind of arrangement where it's a bit more flexible, I don't feel like that. And if
yeah.
I'm having an off day, I just sit down and don't do anything
Hmm.
and just sort of sit and go, okay, well, we'll just let today process and then I will catch up with everything tomorrow. And often I find that if I need to do that, it's the following day or the following week is much more productive, much more um oh, well, I don't even know what the word is, but it's just the juices get flowing a bit better, and it
Hmm.
sort of opens it all up again rather than leaving it in this like congested funnel where you're sort of forcing everything through. I don't have that anymore, which is great.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think there's definitely a lot of value for allowing your brain to sort of percolate information.
Yeah.
Sleep is one of the most amazing things. Everybody goes, I'm a entrepreneur or I'm busy and I don't get sleep. Well, sleep is probably the most important when you're doing that sort of thing because your brain is making connections, it's
Mm,
processing information, and it's storing and accessing memories like crazy. And in
yeah.
your sleep, like last night I dreamt about a particular software platform because I was thinking about it before I went to bed. I wake up this morning, I did a quiz on it and I aced the quiz. So it's one of those things where you've got to slow down to speed up.
Mm,
And getting things right is more important than getting it done quick, because then if you at least if you take the time to contemplate. And I guess this is a little bit of a chicken and egg scenario. Most of these, like at work places where you're there, everything has an urgency or a time dependency.
mm,
We try and structure work with plenty of time, and there's stuff on the calendar. Nothing's last minute. We don't have a desk people walk up to. We have a book a meeting link. People click on that and they schedule time in.
mm,
That is important for doing two things. One, protecting your time,
yep.
or three things. Two, scheduling at a time when you're actually available because you've blocked time out to do things, to think, to process, to go for a drive and get a coffee and break mentally from what you're doing.
Mm,
And the third thing it does is it actually gets commitment from the people that you're trying to connect with.
yes.
They've made a time commitment on their calendar too.
Mm,
So it helps to weed out people that aren't serious, that do just take your time for no reason.
yeah.
Um, All right. So that's a good, really, really good point on better use of time. What about trust? And I'm going to let
Um,
you answer because I don't want to. I don't want to force anything. What is your thoughts?
I think,
Completely
if,
uncensored, live
well,
talking.
I'm just going to say, I think trust in the past between an employer and an employee is a very fragile thing. I think it was easily broken. I think that's why working from home was sort of seen as a bit of a, it's something that they wanted to encourage, but at the same time didn't really want to facilitate because they didn't trust that the employee or person was going to do their work from home or do the work that they said they were going to do. So in doing this with you, um, I think there's been, and it's been a bit of a culture shock for my brain because I'm kind of like, oh, I'm not used to this automatic trust of, yeah, I believe you're going to do it, and this is the only thing that has a time thing on it, but otherwise, go for it, knock yourself out, have fun. Is very unusual, but I think it's something that's very needed, particularly now, and I think in the future because it means that the people who can't do a 9 to 5 job for whatever reason, suddenly there's an avenue that opens for them to work, to be productive, to feel like they're contributing to the life existence of everybody, themselves, their family, whatever, because they've got this trust that's being built with things that are happening with COVID and being forced to work from home and all that sort of stuff.
Speaking of work from home, we have our team mascot who, and as I mentioned at the start, I'm on daddy daycare today. So she is here for a bicky and some screen time
Yep.
to make us aware that she's here. So talking about trust, I did trust her to stay and watch the TV and be a little bit quiet for about 20 minutes. However, sometimes people break your trust, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I think if, talking about trust, swimming lessons later, yes, and talking about the way that people do, you build trust into the process. Have the system that allows you to know that they know what they need to do. They've got the information at the ready in their hands to actually do the work, and they can do everything that they need to do without having to bug you every 5 minutes. So that means creating videos on how-to processes, creating knowledge center where people can self-solve problems, and online courses to onboard people or introduce them to new processes. That just allows you to really expand your business beyond the four walls that you were stuck in before. All right, so I guess that's quite a lot today. We've gone through a bit of sort of your past experiences, and just quickly, what do you look forward to, and what could be improved?
I look forward to, I guess, continuing this sort of oh, what is the answer to life? Um, I look
42.
I look forward to, oh God. I guess I look forward to just the better relationships that I'm building with the Relevate team, with you, with my kids, with my friends, all that sort of stuff, because I have that time now to put into that kind of relationship building that I might not necessarily have had before, or been too stressed or been too tired or whatever it is to really put the effort into before. And it's not even an effort now, it's kind of just you have the free, well, I have the free space to do it, and to put into place all those things for myself and my family and that I wanted to do.
And I assume you want to do it because you want to do a good job and you want to
Yeah.
see something grow and flourish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what could the average business owner listening, what could they
Mm.
improve to get to the ideal spot, the ideal location to allow people to feel like you do about what you do?
I think it's important to help your employees build their self-confidence in being able to work from home, teaching them how to do it, or time management, or like giving them some sort of pathway to do it, believing that they will. And then there's so many online platforms that allow instant sharing I mean, the document we've done today, we've both edited at the same time, which is, I think, just leaps and bounds ahead of things that we used to be able to do, a few years ago. And it's and I think technology now allows this, opening this a giant gateway to the possibilities for anybody's business to have greater access to people that might not have come
Not have
across
been able to do that
before.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for jumping on with the chat, and thanks
No
to
worries.
our lovely assistant over there.
Thank you, lovely assistant.
And all right, so if you're listening in, and if you have any topics you wish for us to discuss, or if you have any questions you'd like or you'd like to share your experience of digital transformation, please let us know by filling out the contact form on our website. You can find out more about working from home, more about digital technologies and digital transformation in any of our blogs, or on the Relevate YouTube channel. Keep an eye out and go to relevate.com.au, and we'll be in touch. So thank you very much. Have
Thank
a good one.
you.